Every photograph you have ever seen is a battle against time. For thousands of years, moments disappeared the instant they happened. Faces faded, memories weakened. Then humans discovered that light itself could carry truth. From dark rooms to modern lenses, cameras became more than tools. They became memory machines. This is the hidden journey of how reality was finally captured. The history of cameras. How humans learned to freeze time before cameras. Humanity's obsession with reality. Long before the first camera was invented, humans were already trying to fight one powerful enemy: time. Early humans knew that memories fade, faces disappear, moments vanish. So they painted animals on cave walls, carved symbols into stone, and passed stories from one generation to another. These were not decorations. They were survival tools for memory. But drawings were interpretations, not reality itself. For thousands of years, people wondered, is it possible to capture the world exactly as it appears? Nature itself quietly revealed the answer. When light passed through a small hole into a dark space, it projected an inverted image of the outside world onto a surface. This natural effect was later called camera obscura, meaning dark chamber. Ancient scholars in China, Greece, and the Islamic world observed this phenomenon. Among them was Ibn al-Haytham, who scientifically proved that vision happens when light enters the eye, not the other way around. This discovery was critical. It meant one thing: light carries information. At this stage, humans could see projected images, but they could not keep them. The image appeared, lived for a moment, and disappeared forever. The dream had begun, but it was incomplete. Camera obscura, seeing without saving, 1700. During the Middle Ages and Renaissance, camera obscura evolved from a curiosity into a practical tool. Artists began using dark rooms and portable boxes with small apertures to project scenes onto paper or walls. This allowed them to trace landscapes, buildings, and human figures with perfect perspective. This single technique changed art forever. For the first time, paintings showed correct proportions, true depth, realistic spatial relationships. Some historians believe even masters like Leonardo da Vinci studied camera obscura principles, but there was still a fatal limitation. The camera obscura could show, but it could not remember. Once the light was gone, the image vanished. The question became urgent. How can we make light leave a permanent trace? The first photograph, When Time Stopped, 1800, 1840. The Industrial Revolution brought chemistry into the story. Scientists discovered that certain materials darkened when exposed to light. This was the missing piece. After years of experiments, Joseph Nicephore Niepce achieved the impossible in 1826, the world's first permanent photograph. The exposure took hours. The image was rough and unclear, but history had changed forever. Soon after, Louis Daguerre introduced the daguerreotype process. Images became sharper, exposure time shorter, and photography more practical. However, early photography had serious problems. Cameras were large and heavy. Chemicals were toxic and dangerous. The process was expensive and complex. Photography was limited to laboratories, studios, and the wealthy elite. For most people, cameras were still unreachable. Photography becomes human. Late 1800s, early 1900s. The true revolution came not from better images, but from simplicity. In 1888, Kodak introduced a camera designed for ordinary people. It came preloaded with film, and users didn't need to understand chemistry or optics. Their message was simple: you press the button, we do the rest. Photography left laboratories and entered homes. Suddenly, people could capture family moments, childhood memories. Everyday life cameras also became witnesses to history. Wars, revolutions, migrations, and disasters were no longer just written about, they were seen. Images gained authority. A photograph felt more truthful than words. Human history was no longer only recorded by those in power. It was captured by anyone holding a camera. Motion pictures. When images learned to move, 1900 and 1930, photography had already changed how people remembered the past. But humans wanted more than frozen moments. They wanted movement. At the turn of the 20th century, inventors discovered that if multiple photographs were taken in rapid succession and played back quickly, the brain perceived motion. This illusion was simple, yet powerful. The motion picture camera was born. Early film cameras were mechanical, loud, and fragile. Film strips passed through gears, shutters opened and closed dozens of times per second, and light exposed each frame one by one. For the first time, cameras could capture human movement, facial expressions, real-time events. Cinema quickly became a global phenomenon. Silent films crossed language barriers effortlessly. A moving image could be understood anywhere in the world. Cameras were no longer just recording tools. They became storytelling machines. Reality could now be replayed. Color, control, and power, 1930-1960. Black and white images felt honest, but color felt alive. By the 1930s and 1940s, color photography and film became increasingly practical. Skin tones, landscapes, and emotions appeared closer to real life than ever before. At the same time, cameras became instruments of influence. Governments used cameras for propaganda, national identity, historical documentation. Journalists used them to expose truth. Artists used them to express emotion. Filmmakers used them to shape dreams. Cameras gained power, not because of technology alone, but because people trusted what they saw. Seeing became believing. Smaller, faster, personal, 1960-1980. Technology accelerated rapidly after World War II. Cameras shrank. Japanese manufacturers like Canon and Nikon transformed photography by introducing compact 35mm cameras and professional SLR systems. Photographers now had interchangeable lenses, manual control over focus, aperture, and shutter, faster shooting speeds. Cameras followed humans everywhere. On the streets, into nature, onto battlefields. Photography stopped being rare. It became personal, immediate, and emotional. History was no longer written only in books. It was captured frame by frame. The digital earthquake, 1990-2005. Then came the most dramatic shift in camera history. Film disappeared. Digital sensors replaced chemical film, converting light into electronic data. This single change shattered every limitation photography had ever known. With digital cameras, images appeared instantly. Storage became virtually unlimited. Editing became accessible to everyone. Companies like Sony and Fujifilm pushed digital imaging into the mainstream. Photography was no longer about waiting. It was about sharing. Images could travel across the world in seconds. Reality became global. Cameras in every pocket, 2010 today. The final transformation was unexpected. Cameras didn't just become smaller, they disappeared into phones. Smartphones merged. Camera, computer, internet. Modern cameras now rely heavily on software. Artificial intelligence enhances images automatically, combining multiple exposures, correcting noise, sharpening details, and even predicting what a photo should look like. Today, cameras don't simply record reality, they interpret it. Every person with a smartphone became a photographer, a reporter, a historian. The world is now documented continuously. Nothing escapes the lens. The future, cameras without cameras. The future of cameras may not look like cameras at all. Cameras are becoming eyes for artificial intelligence, vision systems for self-driving vehicles, sensors for augmented and virtual reality. They no longer just capture moments. They analyze, predict, and decide. From shadows on cave walls to intelligent vision systems, the camera's evolution mirrors humanity itself. We didn't invent cameras just to see the world. We invented them to remember, to understand, and to exist beyond time.